Hello and welcome to this episode of Rainbow Shelter News. I, as always, am Ozma in the Dark.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm.
Are you sure that you're Ozma? I doubt that you're Ozma. I need proof of this.
No.
You mean yes? Look, the NSA just wants to know, you know?
But yeah, I'm still rocking she, they pronouns. Depending on the day. Calon, Christy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Still third wave skying the she, her. I'm gonna run out of music subgenres.
It's fine.
I'm doing alright. Pronouns, obviously she, her.
Yeah.
Still in transition. So, yeah.
Aren't we all in transition from one phase of life to another?
No, Donald Trump isn't.
No, he went,
Got a good point. I can't argue with that. So, with that humor, we'll get immediately to depressing news.
I mean, when is the news not depressing? It's the United States. Like, we live off of depressing news.
True. Well, I've got some good news in the U.S. too.
Trump died? Oh.
No, not remarkably good news.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah, so, recently, Rihanna Pardo, who's a trans woman of color, got killed after, getting hit by a car and, apparently fleeing awful harassers. So, I don't know what to say about these things, except it's
pretty normal at this point.
It's sad and they should be remembered.
It's sad how normal it is.
Yeah. It is. Similarly, a man repeatedly stabbed by the way, that one was March 20th. March 22nd, a man repeatedly stabbed a trans woman after she turned him down. Police say he was going to rape her. What? Trans women get raped and murdered too? Who knew?
You know.
We thought we were too ugly and mannish to rape.
Uh,
I mean...
You'd think so. But, nah. Apparently we're just perfect.
Yeah, we're too perfect and they want to take that away from us with rape.
Yeah, well, it's been tried.
And so, finally, this one's March 19th in Australia, that Christy brought to me, which is good. Well, I mean, it's depressing news, but basically, a former corporal in the Royal Australian Air Force will not spend time in jail despite being convicted for the death of Melanie Bruno, a trans woman. So, there is actually some stuff to say about that. First, manslaughter in Australia has a maximum sentencing of life in jail, and
That's kind of dumb.
if committed in the course of aggravated home burglary, the following minimum sentences apply, including imprisonment for up to 3 years for juveniles and 15 years for adults. Now, as comparison, this person, no jail time for killing a trans woman, and He was sentenced to a 22-month intensive correction order with conditions including 500 hours of community service.
I mean, like, I haven't read over the details of the case, but just briefly from like the news article and whatnot, like, if I were like the prosecution or something like that, there are so many different factors that I don't think they like considered. Like, for example, was the nature of the relationship one that was within BDSM? Because if it wasn't, then like, no, but this is not likely to actually be an accident, you know?
Yeah, well,
I had a rather strange nightmare about this last night. And I've been trying to figure out my thoughts on this because I have been following it. Because Australia is weird about their LGBT being killed laws. Technically, all this stuff is illegal, you know, unless you do it to a same-sex or a trans partner or a same-sex trans partner, or same-gender trans partner. But my thoughts on I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to cohere this. I don't like the phrase "play stupid games, win stupid prizes." I never like that. That's awful.
yeah.
But you know what? There are times when it's fitting. As in this, and it's. We warn people that you know, autoerotic asphyxiation could lead to death, and don't do that, or else you might die. And yeah, if someone else does it to you, it seems to be okay in a lot of quarters. And I'm like, no, you can't have both of those things.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna choke out your partner, understand that they die, you go to jail. That's it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm more curious about like, is like this violent sex, right? Does this require like a pattern of habitual like violent sex play in order for you to get like such an exemption, or is it like, oh, they just want to brush this under the case and solve it as quickly as possible, kind of?
Yeah. It's weird the way they look at it. It's like the worse it is, the less culpable you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, because the rough sex murder defense is was big in Britain for a while, and I don't know how big it plays out essentially like this, which is that, you know, she asked for it, and yes, they didn't have an agreement. They'd been dating for 3 weeks on Grindr, yeah, saying that she didn't ask for the choking to stop is a fucking that's the worst, most awful defense.
I mean,
ever.
it's also the kind of defense that I would expect for like a jury to come to. Like, I mean, I don't know the Australian legal system, so I don't know if this just went in front of a judge or something like that. But like, if you actually look at jury studies and whatnot, it's actually very, very depressing.
Yeah,
that's what and it's not just Australia. That's what I was saying with these kinds of cases. The worse it is, the more likely someone is to get off.
Yeah, and
absolutely not intended.
And yeah, I mean, the person was charged with manslaughter and given the minimum sentencing is 15 years in armed burglary, but choking someone to death That's just community service. That's just like fucking.
Well, I mean, if you consider, I don't think that's not so much my problem with it, because if you consider the circumstances, let's say for a moment that it was accidental, right?
Yeah.
Then that sentence actually fits. My problem is that the ruling is based off of what is a really dumb reason, which is, oh, she didn't ask for the choking to stop. Like, dude.
Well, also, they hadn't made an agreement to it, but, you know, all of this is based off of his description of things. So,
Right.
You know, him saying that she consented to the act of choking, not only consented to it, but instigated it is...
Right, and that's the other thing, is that, like, I'm sure this trans woman has friends or something like those friends should have been, like, interviewed and say, hey, does this girl like rough sex? Kind of. Like, there are ways that you can sort of abduce about whether or not this was actually something that was accidental, or whether this was likely probably a murder or something like that. And yeah, to me, it screams of poor investigative work.
Yeah, but I mean, even if not a murder, it could have been manslaughter and an act of date rape. Like, it could be a lot of things.
I mean, if it's date rape, at that point, it's murder. Like, you're not...
Not in every state in the union here, so...
Yeah, but either way, what I'm saying is that I don't... So, like, given if we grant that the sentence, that the court came to the right decision, which I don't, but if we do, I do actually think that community service is probably somewhat roughly appropriate, because I tend to be on the more restorative side of justice.
Yeah.
The retributive side.
Yeah, and I mean, it's when it comes to actual sentencing, if restorative sentencing is actually applied properly, then yes, I would agree to that sentencing as well. My issue is that it just seems like a weird inconsistency for the legal system to only seem to care about restorative justice when it comes to people killing people during sex.
I mean, generally, well, again, though, like, so it's clear, the facts of the case is that the guy killed her.
Yes.
What's not clear to me, and what hasn't been established sufficiently, in my opinion, this is I'm the criminology major, so this isn't legal advice or anything.
Yeah.
I always have to make that disclaimer. I haven't seen sufficient evidence that shows that the act was actually consensual. That's my issue.
Yeah.
And maybe it's there in the case, but somehow with the kind of reasoning of, well, she didn't ask for it to stop. Well, she's being choked.
Yeah, apparently there was allegedly a tap to stop option, which actually might be so there might be there's some possibility, but I don't know enough about the other person to say, and I don't know enough about the history with relation to that, and things need to be investigated more.
Right, and that's my main criticism of this case, is that it's like there seems to be a remarkable lack of investigative initiative here. Which, I mean, there could be many reasons for it, but ultimately, I think if this were like a cis woman or something of that, or someone of that nature, then it would probably be investigated, especially if it were a cis white woman.
Yeah, and Emily brings up obviously under stress, consent under stress is complicated or whatever.
It can be, yeah. But but yeah, I think regardless, we can conclude it requires more. There should have been more investigative work done.
Yeah, a ton more, because, yeah.
Like I said, I've been following the case, and they didn't do shit for investigation, as far as I can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
they have some. Yeah.
So, do you want to travel across the pond to the doomsday island that is England? 2/3 of trans people in the UK don't feel safe coming out as their true self at work. I know this isn't a shock. This is the least.
I was about to
shocking
say,
story.
was I supposed to be shocked? Is that supposed to make my heart drop or something?
Yeah, no, it's just. This is something that's common. It's just it really is just a reflection of how bad things are.
Yeah, things have been getting a bit worse over there. Not entirely sure why, but I also haven't really done an analysis of Angoland in that regard.
And yet, if you actually look at how the polling is, the anti-trans people are a very small fraction. They're a smaller fraction than they are in the U.S. Although we're
but don't like 2/3 of the people in the UK not believe in the Holocaust is like exactly as told or something?
No. God, no.
No, yeah, that would be like. I mean, granted, I think the Holocaust was actually worse than than how it gets portrayed, but yeah.
No, it's 72% are, oh, trans people are cool, whatever, I think the only one that goes under 50% is sports, and that's a lot of just misunderstanding.
Sorry. 2.6 million British people think the Holocaust is a myth.
Yeah. That's...
Of a country of how many?
So 5%.
Oh, okay.
Believe Holocaust is a myth.
5% are idiots.
And 8% of the British public claims the scale of genocide has been exaggerated.
Well, does that 8% include that 5%?
I assume so.
So 3% believe it happened but was exaggerated, and 5% believe it never happened.
Maybe. Probably. Yeah, it's still far too many people.
Britton, what happened to your education system?
Well, it got taken over by the BBC, which hates a lot. BBC
Lovely.
is slowly becoming the Fox News of Britain.
And they already have a Fox News, well, Sky News, which is slightly better than Fox, but it is the same people.
So, essentially, in terms of, I guess, more amusing,
right.
but okay. Well, that's fine because Christy is the J.K. Rowling person.
Oh, am I?
Yes, you're not the J.K. Rowling person.
Fucking wobbly.
No, it's just Rupert Grint has made a more official statement saying in the nicest terms that he respectfully disagrees.
Yeah, well.
It was something important to say. Grint added, while he's not an authority on he felt the responsibility to speak out, as sometimes silence is even louder. Just out of kindness and just respecting people, I think it's a valuable group that I think needs standing up for. With relation to everyone, that's his defense of trans people, but obviously, like the respectful part is largely because J.K. Rowling did make a big influence on his life. Like it or
Yeah,
not.
well,
What are we talking about?
Oh, Rupert, Ron Weasley, calling out J.K. Rowling's transphobia.
Oh, cool.
Officially. It was just
That's
a more
nice.
official. It was just a more official statement. But more important, back in the U.S., more important news. Well, here's the headline, by the way, that I read. Fragile Capital Rider bans trans people and Biden voters from his coffee shop.
yeah, that was a lovely story. It's like, okay, well, you can't do that. You public accommodations, but unless you want to make it a private club, in which case your taxes are different. So, oh wait, he probably doesn't pay taxes. He's a Trump.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he was also in the insurrection, so... It's called the C4 coffee shop. That's
not Yanksy at all.
I mean, after the insurrection and being run by an insurrection person, it definitely increased yikesiness. I'm not sure.
I know, I was kidding.
If it weren't for that, it isn't like a bad name for a coffee shop, and if you're just like being jokey.
No, actually, it's kind of cute. That's all I'll give him.
Well, I don't know that I created it.
Oh.
So, I mean, it might not be his idea.
My
Birdie.
favorite quote of his. I feel I have stood strongly for the government, the president, and the Constitution. It's like, no, that would be exactly the opposite of what you did. All of them.
By shitting on the Constitution and going against the United States election, I support the United States president and the Constitution.
Oh, he's now cooperating with investigators. Good. Well, spread that around.
Hi, Bird.
No, I do that because I don't believe in
Don't kiss him.
I'm finding myself at odds with my own morality today.
Yeah.
I'm in a fuck 'em all mood.
Fair. Especially after an Arkansas bill, which I don't know if it's going to pass. I don't know if there's been an update on the Arkansas bill to allow medical workers to refuse treatment to LGBTQ people.
Yeah, they can't do that. That's already been decided.
Okay, they have turned that down.
No, they can't. Well, whether they turned it down or not, they can't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, it's
it goes against the Supreme Court rulings.
Yeah.
So I mean, they may be trying to challenge it in court, but that would be dismissed with prejudice.
Yeah, because it's a waste of the court's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Arkansas is also like decided to be, well, I was gonna say decided to be super transphobic. Yeah, the transphobia in Arkansas and Tennessee, that's totally new. And
Completely.
and them passing the lawmakers, it hasn't been put into practice, but they're trying to pass transgender sports bans in Arkansas and Tennessee. It's past the lawmaker stage, but hasn't passed in that state, but it hasn't.
How would you even implement that? Like that makes like no sense. Like what?
Checking genitals. Having like
no. That's not what I mean.
Coaches check genitals.
No. I mean, what I mean is, that would violate the student's privacy by being invasive, which would in turn be unlawful search.
No, well, technically, that you can't. Unlawful search doesn't apply to school kids.
No, it does. I mean, depending on which state you're in. I don't know what it does in Tennessee,
I
but
don't know if it's
courts
that.
have actually ruled in favor of, hey, this search was way too invasive.
Well, to go back to the Supreme Court, it's searching school kids is not invasive, but there's got to be a limit. Bodily autonomy and all of that. I had some place to go. When I was saying about Britain and their 72%, we're very regional here. I mean, it is wildly regional as far as transgender rights, or transgender attitudes. I mean, I could drive 10 hours from where I live in Buffalo, as you all know, but I could drive 10 hours south of me and be in Kentucky, and I wouldn't do that, but I could do that.
By the way, it's I looked into it. That's not the thingy. It's not. They're not making them do that. Although it's still not good, because if a birth certificate does not appear to be the student's original birth certificate or does not indicate the student's sex at birth, the student must provide other evidence to indicate the student's sex, the bill indicates. The student or the student's parent or guardian must pay the cost associated with providing that evidence.
Now, wait a second. By the time I was 1, my name had changed from my second birth. I got a second birth certificate by the time I was 1, because my birth name is Juan Christophe Abbey. Yeah, good accent on that, huh? And it was changed to
It was changed to cute bird noises. Sorry.
It was changed to Christopher John Abbey, and then I was adopted when I was 11. So I had 3 different names by the time I was 11.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. I mean.
Hi. Yes, bird. But no, like, in terms of, like, enforceability of this, like, I guess it would just apply to, like, public schools within Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
Sure.
It doesn't seem like something that would be. It just seems like something that the teachers would hit the students over the heads with their own discretion. It's not like, I mean, what, you're gonna have the resource officer just standing out there checking people's genitals? Like, no.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's ultimately the same thing with, like, the bathroom bills for North Carolina. There's absolutely no way to enforce those in any way that makes any sense from, like, a policing standpoint.
Yeah.
It was more just nominal transphobia.
Don't you know they can always tell? Transphobes can always tell. It's amazing.
Yeah, except they're right. There's just, yeah.
So we are getting up. I'll briefly mention the Christy Noem rejecting signing the transgender sports bill. What state was that again? South Dakota. Because she can't.
Hold up 1 second. I will be right back. Don't cover that until we do, because I have a lot.
Well, no, there's not a lot of time left.
Okay.
I have more time today.
Okay.
Because Cultia is moving, so I don't have Transgardr today.
Okay. Well, I mean, I suppose. I mean, I could just jump into the good news, since that's not like that news is bad news or whatever. Someone rejecting transports Willow River. Apparently, there was a survey that said about 3/4 of Americans support LGBTQ non-discrimination laws, and because we're governed by old white men, of course, they're going to continue to reject them.
Well,
I mean, they said they're actively going to reject them, even though 61% of like Republicans.
Yeah, it's not just white men. It's like because like for most people, these kinds of bills, like LGBT rights bills and whatnot, when they actually stop and think about them, they have like no impact on their life.
Yeah,
like 0. So at worst, most people are, unless they're like hyper like Christian or something, aren't going to give a fuck.
Well, yeah, and also a lot of people are like assume that businesses aren't legally able to turn away people for being gay or whatnot, or prevent hiring. Which is why they're just like, oh yeah, no, this should have probably been a lot of people are probably like, this should have been a thing years ago, and it's frustratingly annoying that it's not, because the Republican Party isn't fighting for the American people.
No, it's fighting for the rich, white, Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, which is
usually business owners, but sometimes even they can get a little too extreme there, because you attack minorities too much, you lose their business. So there's always that neoliberal counterbalance, which is what the Democrats serve. Hi, welcome to Basic Marxian Analysis with Calon.
Hey, we just did critiques on capitalism. I appreciate the Marxian analysis. I just it brings things more into light, which makes things more depressing.
I mean, that's just conflict theory in sociology in general.
Yeah.
Like, conflict theory is one of the most bitter pills in sociology that you end up having to swallow, because it's like, oh, okay, fuck. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, South Dakota, real quick. Christy Nome is the worst governor in the U.S. And
Calon has a little bit more time. You don't have to go too quick, apparently.
Okay. And that's a hard road to cross. I mean, Ivy in Alabama is trying, but can't be quite as bad as Christy Nome. I'm glad she spells it differently.
Yeah, because
she doesn't believe COVID exists, except she also brags about South Dakota's outcome, which is one of the worst in the U.S. because they never had a mask mandate, they never had a stay-at-home order, they never had anything.
So she's trying to kill all the old people.
So she's going to be running for
president. Old people and disabled people.
She's going to be running for president in 2024, and what will be interesting, I mean, she actually did something rational by noting that the way the bill is written, that it would prevent collegiate athletes as well, although most people wouldn't care about that. It would automatically get, okay, they'd lose all their college money, and apparently the only thing that they have in South Dakota is colleges. The first Mrs. Abbey came from South Dakota. She lived in Nebraska, but came from South Dakota. It's the Idaho of the Dakotas.
I mean, North Dakota is pretty bad.
North Dakota is not nearly as bad.
Wait, am I mixing up the Dakota states again?
Well, we only need one. We don't even need one.
Yeah, we just need, what we need is a large section of land
Look, here's what I know.
given
is that-
to Dakota.
Well, here's the thing. My bird has
Dakota.
just been hissing at you this entire time because you've been talking about Dakota. I don't think she likes Dakota.
No, I don't. The only good Dakota is Fanning. I'm sorry, there are some.
Well, I
things
mean,
I have no time for.
well, yeah, I just mean fuck, I can't remember if the native people prefer Dakota or Lakota. And that's really bad. I feel really bad on my part.
Don't.
Because they would also be the good Dakota if Dakota is correct. If not.
The lawmakers, I like their reaction. She's just supposed to sign the bill. She's not supposed to try and change it. It's like, oh, that's not how things work either. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna do a transgender bill like this, you don't know how things work to begin with, so fuck them. Yeah, and she's gonna lose just because she's one rational thing. Which, I mean, I want her to lose, but I don't want to lose because of that. Or maybe it'll just show how irrational the Republicans are. Or maybe, I don't know. I live 5 minutes from Canada. That's always the thing. I don't know. I've lost my.
It's okay. We're getting close. We're over time, and it's fine to. I almost started treating this like a Fluid Voice episode. It's fine to go off topic now. No, with that said, I mean, I guess, is there anything lastly, anything else? Do you guys want to say something before we wrap up?
Or do you want to say something? Okay.
I mean, say my things. Make sure you do the YouTube things down below. Subscribe.
Oh, yes.
Notification.
I was doing bad with that. Yes. Like, comment, and subscribe. Love the bird. In fact, if you truly love the show, what's the bird's name again?
Gila.
Can you say that again?
Gila.
Dila?
Gila. Mm-hmm.
How do you spell that?
K-I-L-A.
Oh, Kila. Okay.
Gila.
But yeah, so if you really enjoyed this episode, secretly you want to comment Kila down below. And no one will know what you mean except for people who watch the episode. Because that's how that works. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. Ring that bell. And things have the possibility to get better. Admittedly, things also have the possibility to get worse. But I hope things get better for you, the audience. And also you, the co-hosts. And
yeah. I'll know tomorrow if my life is better or not.
Mhm.
Which is very, very cryptic, but I'll explain on Sunday if. I'll explain on Sunday. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
There's more.
What do we do and what are we doing? Do a quick what's our project?
Wait, what's our what? Are you talking about your voice matters?
No, the where can people find you things?
Oh shit! Okay, this is what happens when I'm on 4 hours of sleep. I'm blaming the sleep. I refuse to blame myself on this one. I blame myself for everything else. You can find me here on this channel a lot, and every once in a great while at the moment, because I'm sorting out life stuff, you can find me Ozma in the Dark. Calon, where can people find you outside of here on this channel?
You can find me at Transgardr. which I assume will be linked below. And you can find me on my own channel, which is Calon. I think it also has Ushumgal, which means like big snake in Sumerian.
and you released a video recently on that channel as well.
I'm also releasing another video tonight on gender theology.
Oh, excellent. Christy, where can people find you?
You can find me here Sundays and Wednesdays on the Fluid Voice channel, and the little clip that Ozma so graciously pulls out every week, which I love.
Well, I mean, except for the week that I missed, I need to catch up. And but yeah.
I have the interview on Steve Shaw's channel this coming Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern. I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern. I hope it is.
PM or AM?
PM.
Okay.
It's live, so ask questions and
check that out.
Yes, and the proceeds are going to Glisten, the trans kids support, and I will be starting my after a long break of a lot of stress. I will be starting next week my channel on Tuesdays again with Joey Smith, aka Cup of Joey. So
okay.
Oomst we stand.
Yeah.
And
I have trouble standing people anymore. I'm just like I've just been I feel like I've been hurt a lot when I stand people.
I stand myself.
Well, if you're gonna stand somebody, Joey is one of those people that you should. I think.
Take Christy's word for it. I'm just jaded. That's just my problem. Like the I heard about the Game Grumps shit, and I was just like, oh. Don't laugh at me, Keela.
But
she says no. She's going to laugh at you.
As soon as whatever is going on in my life, which again everybody here knows about, but you guys don't know about out there, is settled, then
yeah,
I'm back to work pretty much a lot.
Yeah, I'll be doing a lot more once I sort out part-time work and increase pension, whatever.
Yeah, I have an interview because of the disability, I'm not allowed to work more than 14 hours a week. So it's very hard to get a job where you can only work 14 hours a week.
Yeah. Anyways,
okay.
Yeah.
Get yourself vaccinated.
Yeah, if you can. Some people can't get vaccinated yet. I think we're not the final rollout, but yeah, as soon as you can.
Your voice matters. Your life matters. Your voice matters, and you matter.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Keela. Okay, now you're gonna attack the comb. Okay.